Hey there, glad you're here. Curiosity hits different around here. This is where science, history, and the universe collide in the best possible way. A pulse of neon threads everything together for a second. Okay, let's open today's unexpected door. The mess that changed medicine. Picture this. A scientist walks back into his lab after vacation. Petri dishes everywhere. Mold growing where it absolutely shouldn't. Most people would sigh and throw everything away. But one man paused, looked closer, and by doing that, he helped launch the antibiotic era and quietly saved hundreds of millions of lives. This is the true story of a forgotten mistake, the accident that created penicillin. Let's rewind to the early 1900s. Globally, around 1900, average life expectancy was roughly 31 to 35 years. Not because humans aged faster, but because infant mortality and infectious diseases were brutal. A cut could become fatal. Pneumonia was terrifying. Childbirth was risky. Sanitation and vaccines would later help. But at this moment in history, doctors had no real way to stop bacterial infections once they spread. Alexander Fleming was a careful scientist, a trained bacteriological researcher, but his lab, famously chaotic. Petri dishes stacked, cultures left out, windows open. At the time, labs weren't sterile bubbles. Airborne spores floated freely, often drifting in from neighboring rooms, including a mycology lab nearby. In that environment, contamination wasn't rare. It was almost inevitable, and that inevitability set the stage. On September 28, 1928, Fleming returned to his London lab. On his bench sat a forgotten Petri dish. Inside Staphylococcus bacteria. But it was contaminated. A mold had grown across part of the plate. Normally, end of experiment. But something didn't look random. Fleming didn't draw conclusions immediately. Over the next 2 weeks, he subcultured the mold, tested it again and again. On October 30th, 1928, the pattern was undeniable. Around the mold was a clear ring, a zone of inhibition, about 20 millimeters wide. Inside that ring, the Staphylococci weren't slowed. They were destroyed. Fleming initially identified the mold as Penicillium rubrum. Later, mycologist Charles Thom reclassified it as Penicillium notatum. Modern DNA analysis shows the original culture was genetically unique, not identical to today's industrial P. chrysogenum strains. Nature had improvised something new. Fleming named it penicillin. Here's the frustrating part. Fleming couldn't turn penicillin into a medicine. It broke down easily. It was incredibly dilute, about 1 part in 10 million. Pharmaceutical companies weren't interested. The chemistry wasn't ready. Fleming published his findings in 1929, then moved on to other work. Penicillin sat quietly in scientific journals, a miracle, waiting for a crisis big enough to demand it. That crisis arrived with World War II. At Oxford, Howard Florey and Ernst Boris Chain revisited Fleming's paper. They used Fleming's original P. notatum culture. In 1941, they treated their first human patient, police officer Albert Alexander, dying of sepsis. Within days, he improved dramatically. Fever down. Infection retreating. He survived 10 days after the first doses. Then the supply ran out. The infection returned. He died. It was heartbreaking and unmistakable. Penicillin worked. The world just didn't have enough of it. By 1943, everything accelerated. In the United States, companies like Pfizer pioneered deep tank fermentation using corn, steep liquor. Yields exploded from 2.3 grams per liter to nearly 50 grams per liter. Penicillin went from lab curiosity to industrial lifeline. On the battlefield, death from infected wounds dropped from 12–15% to around 3%. Millions survived World War II. In 1945, the Nobel Prize was awarded jointly to Fleming, Florey, and Chain, a direct recognition of a discovery that reshaped the war and the world. Penicillin didn't just save lives, it created the antibiotic era. modern surgery, cancer treatment, organ transplants. But today, that legacy is under threat. Antibiotic resistance, including superbugs like MRSA, is rising fast. The World Health Organization warns that by 2050, drug-resistant infections could kill 10 million people per year if we're not careful. The accident that saved us now asks us to be smarter than chance alone. Hey, appreciate you staying all the way through. Enjoyed it? Smash like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a new fact. And don't stop now, there's a whole universe of videos waiting for you. See you next time.